Hey everyone, Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlog, and it's a moments in time where we look back at a game or a manager or a player or something that happened, a sacking or a signing or a new manager on board, all different things, moments in time, a famous game, etc. Or who knows, anything a little bit different to the norm. Anyway, please, if you're new to the channel, push that subscribe button over there near Mr. Owen. There, see Mr. Owen there? Just push that subscribe button, push the bell notification so you know when these little vlogs and specials are coming out. And please make sure your notifications are set to public. Yeah, we're looking at Gary Owen today, aren't we? The wonderful Gary Owen, who, when you look back at these things, I sort of thought he was at City a lot longer than he actually was. I mean, he was there from a youngster, and obviously he did come through the reserves, etc. So he was, in length of time, he was there a few years, but obviously playing for the first team, it wasn't overly long, and certainly not long enough by most of judgment by most City fans. And obviously when he left he started under Mr. Buck and he left under obviously Mr. Allison's revolution, wasn't he? But I would have thought someone like Gary Owen would have been ideal for Malcolm Allison's revolution, a young player like that. But hey, there you go. We also lost his mate, didn't we, Mr. Peter Barnes, who'll no doubt get a mention as well, even though we're talking about Gary Owen. You sort of link the two together, and quite strangely enough, I did play, I've mentioned this before, you're probably sick of me mentioning it, but I did play a charity match at Main Road many years ago, in the late 90s. It could have been the year 2000, 2001, something like that. And what Gary Owen and Peter Barnes used to be the managers, so you used to have a City home team and a City away team. And obviously Peter Barnes and Gary Owen were the managers, so we did have fun one afternoon, because I only played half a game. I could only afford, you had to pay for it, this charity game. I could only afford half a game, so the second half I was chatting a lot. Our manager was Peter Barnes, and the second half we were having a chat and just laughing at Gary, because he's so I mean, he was so upset, because I mean our team won 10-3 I think overall, but he was getting so irate. It's so important to him. You could see he just loves sport and he wants to win, and we were just having a chuckle at Gary Owen's antics especially in the second half. I mean, it was 3-1 at half time, but obviously in the second half it just ended up 10-3, so it was just goal after goal, and he wasn't very happy, Mr. Owen. So he does take things seriously, which is nice, isn't it? I'm competitive as well, so good on him. Yeah, I mean, on the 30th of May 1979, so I'm putting this out there on the internet on the 30th of May 2020, and obviously 2021, if we're still around, 2022, I might put it out again. But yeah, on the 30th of May 1979, he was sold to West Bromwich Albion. So we can't be specific on dates. That's the date we've been given. It might have been sort of sorted out a couple of days before or a week before. I'll mention that. It might have even been sorted out 2 or 3 weeks before. But that's the date we've got, that he moved to West Bromwich Albion for £450,000. He'd actually played over 120 games for City, scoring over 23 goals in various competitions. He'd played just over 100 league games with 2 as sub, scored 19 goals in the league. In the FA Cup, he'd made 7 appearances, scored a couple of goals. In the League Cup, he'd made 9 appearances, scored a couple of goals. And he'd even played in Europe. He'd even had 5 games in Europe as well. And he was actually never capped as a full England international. He just received 22 caps for the under-21s, and that's quite a lot. That's one of the highest, that's one of the most capped players for the under-21s, and I think almost half of those was while he was at City. So yeah, he was transferred to West Bromwich Albion on the 30th of May 79. If people are to believed, he was sort of sent there kicking and screaming. He didn't want to go, but I mean, I think I've read that since then anyway. I mean, just have a look at his brief career with us. Just a couple of highlights, obviously, that we can talk about. It's interesting, actually, his debut. This is quite unusual for me as well. This is a funny one. He made his debut on in this game, March the 20th, 1976, against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And strange enough, I mean, I was 1976, so March. So I was 16 then. I lived with my sister from being about 11 years old, and obviously I had nieces and nephews, and the eldest niece wanted to come to the game with me, so I actually took her to this game. I actually took this game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm sort of 99.9% sure now, because we actually won the game 3-2, but we were actually I think we were 1-0 down at half time. We could have been either 2-0 down or 2-1 down, but either way, my niece, she wanted to go to the toilet all the second half, and we were at the front of the Kippack Street. I remember being in the Kippack Street, and I sat her on the wall there. But she was desperate, and I think we were losing either 2-0 or 2-1, and with about a few minutes left, I said, "Oh, come on then," because she was mithering that much. And I don't leave games early, I never do. And strangely enough, I took my niece to the ladies' toilet, which is another. But obviously, it was all we scored a goal while I was waiting, and then right. So anyway, I thought it was nearly full time, and then as I sort of left the ground, because I thought there's no point in going back in and trying to get my niece to the front again, sort of thing. I'll just go home. And as I was walked through the gates out of the Kippack, so another loud cheer, and we actually won the game 3-2. So that's just Gary Owen's testimonial, a little personal story to me. In that magazine, actually, it's got this Central League appearances, and that season, Gary Owen had played quite a few times for the Central League. The most appearances for the Central League team, apart from Keith McRae, the goalkeeper. So he'd made 26 appearances and scored 5 goals in the Central League. So even though he obviously only had a few games that season, that was he'd been in the Central League. So that was his debut. An interesting one for me as well, wasn't it? So, I just remember that. I just remember it was Wolves and the 3-2 and missing the thing. Another programme, obviously, April the 24th, 1976. Tony Buck makes a quick comment about Gary. The latest and youngest of the promising Blues is Gary Owen. All he needs is a little more strength. He has the rest, and fans at Main Road will have seen it clearly when he made his debut last month against Wolves. I'm sure a lot will be heard of Gary, who is still only 17. And if you think of that season, the 75-76 season, even though he played all those reserve games, Central League games, we had a new thing. A new award for the young player of the year. Well, it's the first time they'd done it this year. Obviously, they'd had the normal player of the year, which was Joe Corrigan this year, 75-76. But Gary Owen, what they did, they had people who had to watch certain Central League games before they voted, so they would have watched Gary Owen, obviously playing for the reserves. So he actually won that, even though he only played a handful of games for the first team. He won the Young Player of the Year award, mainly because of his reserve appearances in the Central League. So that was quite interesting, because that's in the programme for my dodgy colour programme, that the very first City programme that they did try to do a full colour thing. This I did a thing on programmes many months ago now, and this was the first one of my colours bled on my programme here, which is I've seen a lot of programmes where it hasn't, but this is not quite the quality we would expect, but that was a very real first effort to do it all season, where we had a front cover in colour. We had done it bits and bobs before then, but not consistently for the season, which we did. By the next programmes, they were sorting it out. So anyway, that's from that programme. That's from the first game of the 76-77 season. So obviously it's the awards for the Player of the Year from the year before. So he did win that in 1975-76. And strangely enough, he actually scored his first goal in October the 2nd, 1976. And just coincidence enough, Peter Barnes on the front cover of that one against West Ham United. So he actually scored his first goal for City in this game, in a 4-2 win. It was a 4-2 win over West Ham United. So, and it's just a coincidence, Mr. Barnes is on the front as well. Obviously, they have the link together, aren't they, them two? A couple of other things. There's a great image of him here. This is in 1978 now. This is at the start of the 78-79 season, which was his last season at City, obviously. And he's got a great image of him signing autographs for the player. He used to walk from where the cars were parked, obviously walk up along past the Platt Lane up to the main stand to the players' entrance, and obviously this is an image of him signing autographs. Absolutely fantastic image of Gary Owen there, and he doesn't look much older than the guys he's signing for, does he? He wasn't the biggest lad, obviously, but that's great. And coincidentally, that was the official yearbook for that year, which he's on the front there. That's Gary Owen. It's not the greatest view of him, but again, that's him in action, Gary Owen. And inside, said this would be his last season. And the guy who bought this isn't my book. I actually give mine to. I actually give it away to someone for a very personal reason. But the guy who owned this one, he's got Gary Owen. Look, he's put WBA. So he's Willie Donachie there, Portland, USA. So he's actually got this yearbook and put where they went. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, and Gary Owen there, the image of Gary Owen. Great image in the collared shirt like on there. Despite having just past the 20-year-old barrier, Gary Owen could well play for Manchester City for the rest of his career. Last summer, he accepted the offer of a handsome 8-year contract. So he'd been given an 8-year contract. And obviously it was only to last a year, wasn't it? He was gone at the end of this year. His only club who he joined from St Helens area, where he hails from a rugby league family. A bit more on that in a minute. Father Alf was a rugby league professional with Widnes, but Gary had more of a feeling for the round ball game, where Manchester United, and we'll talk about that again, were one of the hosts of clubs chasing his signature when he left school. However, he picked City out because they were happy. They were a happy club who immediately made me feel at home. Since making his league debut against Wolves, Gary has completed 67 league appearances, so this is obviously the season after. In addition, he has become a Young England regular in the under-21 side. So, as I say, he didn't appear. I think I've got the 79-80. I didn't have a look in the 79-80 to see if he appeared in there as well, but I'm not too sure about that one. He was in the 21st of April 1979 against QPR. He featured in the Blues off duty, so there's a great image there with his mum and dad in his new house. He moved into a posh 3-bedroom semi. Just reading out from Peter Gardner's thing of Gary Owen. He was very sports-minded. He loved playing tennis, he loved playing cricket, he loved a round of golf. And this is quite interesting. When I was at school, all my pals were soccer daft, and that's how I got really stepped in the shape in the round ball game. My dad was a professional rugby player. Whisper it. Here we go. But I was once a Manchester United fan and could have joined the Reds when I was on the verge of stepping into soccer as a full-time occupation, he confesses. Yeah, so there's a great image of Gary Owen there. He loves films as well, and he likes Western movies. Clint Eastwood, obviously this is back 40-odd years ago, but you know, Clint is still going, isn't he? And obviously Gary's still going as well, but that's a great image with his dad and his mum. And his dad's doing a plug, look. His dad's doing a plug for him. So that was great. A thing of Gary Owen. There's some action, Gary Owen action man, again from the same season, his last season with City. So against Bolton and QPR, both games at Main Road there, some action pictures of Gary Owen. Yeah, and obviously when it came towards the end of that season, by 15th of May 1979, we played Aston Villa with Mr. Ron Saunders in charge, as a familiar name. It's just a little City calendar, and it actually says on May the 9th. So, strangely enough, he's not featured in the team in this one, Gary Owen. I mean, this is for the 15th of May, and he left on the 30th, don't forget. And he didn't feature in the squad or anything in this game. So, whether there was something there, we're not too sure. But it does say in the diary, just to finish off, it's talking about on May the 9th, it's mentioning Asa Hartford, and it says Gary Owen is in the England under-21 squad for the summer tour of Bulgaria, Austria and Sweden. City chief coach Malcolm Allison flies to Copenhagen to view recommended players in the Denmark-Sweden internationals. So obviously this must have been going on while he was planning the under-21 tour as well, so you know, perhaps would be a little bit of a distraction. But he did leave City on the 30th of May 1979. Some great memories for City fans. As I said, kicking and screaming. Most fans, nearly 100% of the fans, didn't want him to go. To be honest, you know, we loved Gary Owen and Peter Barnes. And then obviously the season after, we would have had to play West Bromwich Albion, wouldn't we? So, strange enough, on the 15th of September, so quite early in the season. I mean, he'd been playing for West Bromwich Albion then, so there's a great image in there in the West Bromwich Albion kit. And they absolutely tated us at the Hawthorns. And yes, Gary Owen did score a goal, one of the goals in a 4-0 win. They beat us 4-0, so he inspired them to that. And then again, later, we would have to play him again, wouldn't we, at Main Road? And obviously we've got the welcome back here, and obviously we can also put Peter Barnes in there, can't we? He was in probably another vlog, but we're talking about Gary Owen today. So he's welcoming back Gary Owen in his West Brom colours. So that was Saturday the 2nd of February 1980. So welcoming him back there. And yes, he inspired West Brom to beat City again. So another win. So we've lost both games against West Brom. We lost that one 3-1. And he didn't score, Gary Owen, but a certain Peter Barnes scored 2. So there you go. We lost 7-1 on aggregate against West Bromwich Albion, where Gary Owen went. Anyway, that's just a little bit about Gary Owen deserting us, even though he didn't want to. Great bloke. As I say, we'll forgive him for being a United fan. I'm sure he's a City fan properly now. I know he does stuff for City all the time. He used to have a piece in the programmes, didn't he, around about the turn of the century? About year 1999, 2000. He used to do a regular column in the Manchester City programmes as well. So, yeah, Gary Owen. Hope you enjoy that. Anyway, if you've got any special memories of him, please put them in the comments below. Any you've got of Gary Owen, or games you remember him playing, or performances, etc. He scored a few goals, didn't he? He's a great little player. As I said, why he was surplus to requirements, I think it's all about money, isn't it? At the end of the day, I think he wanted to. He was. I wouldn't say he wouldn't have been on 8-year contracts. I mean, so obviously he still had 6 or 7 years to run on that. So. Perhaps, obviously, the money men were looking at it and thinking, well, what have we done that for? What have we done this for? But there you go. There'll be different stories, won't there? Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you think, and any memories you have of Gary Owen. Please follow me on Twitter for all the latest City news. I've got 2 accounts, at Charles Dineen, Dineen spelled DINNN, or at nostalgia_movie. And if you know that's, again, they're linked together. You can follow either or both. It doesn't really matter. I do obviously movie vlogs and TV drama vlogs, poster specials, stuff like that. So please check the playlist if you're interested in anything like that as well. And I'm on Facebook at Bernardine with links to moviegamenostalgia.com, my little website that I've had for obviously I've been selling for a few years. I used to have a video shop in the 1990s and 2000s, so I still sell old and rare DVDs on that site, plus movie posters from the 1990s and 2000s, and some board games as well, some retro board games. So if you can spare a couple of minutes, moviegamenostalgia.com, big thumbs up to you. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this look at Gary Owen signing for West Bromwich Albion from Manchester City, the 30th of May 1979, a City moment in time. Hope you enjoyed that. What are you going to do the rest of the day? Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your family. Let's all look after each other. And hopefully you'll join me again for another one of these, another review, another special, another quiz, whatever. Hope you'll join me again very, very soon. This is Bernardine saying goodbye for now. See you all soon. Bye-bye.